Hello again and welcome to another episode of Channel Automation Training. Today I'm going to be going over what are telemarketing hours, why they're important, and why you have to have them enabled before you go live. And here's where to check where you can enable them to go live. So right now I am on the second menu area and I am going to go to my settings, then I'm going to go to SMS, and right here you're going to see the thing called telemarketing hours. Now, the reason that we're talking about telemarketing hours, as you can see, there's a day-to-day calendar, and right now this is all set how we want it to be set up. But if you do not have your telemarketing hours set up yet, it's going to look like this. Every single day of the week, you are able to send emails and text messages out at any time of the day. And if you're keeping up with TCPA compliance as well as text message compliance and legality in general, you'll know that you're not allowed to send text messages at all hours of the day. In fact, you aren't usually in most states able to text before 8 a.m. and after 9 p.m. Now, depending on what state you live in or if you live in a different country, those laws may be different, but you don't want to have your messaging going out at all hours of the day. And not to mention, even if you did and it was legal in your area, your call center isn't going to be available to answer them right away, and you know speed delete is important. And so let me tell you about how to adjust these telemarketing hours to make sure that they are correct. So the first thing that you want to take a look at is your time zone. We are in the Pacific time zone, and so for us, we have Monday from 9 a.m. to 20 o'clock military time. And so the reason that we do recommend cutting it off an hour early or even 2 hours early, depending on where you are, is we have delays set on almost all of our flows. So that way we are not overwhelming the system with information really, really late in the day where there's a chance that it's going to be pushed back that threshold that we're trying to establish, where it's going to be trying to send a message after the hours that are allowed, but because of the system settings, it won't be able to, so then you risk your messages not going out at all. And so this is going to be in response to, let's say that you have uploaded a whole bunch of bot users, like 2,000 of them, and you're like, okay, I want to send out this text message to 2,000 bot users, but you don't set it up until the afternoon. Well, that could be an issue because our parser is going to be like, okay, after 30 seconds, let this user get a message. After a minute, let this user get a message. After another minute, let this user get a message, and we can do that all the way up to a half hour. This is to prevent our system from being flagged as spam. So it's important to have this funnel where not all 2,000 users or 1,000 users are getting all of our messaging all at the same time. We make sure that parser is protecting you. And so number one, good rules in practice is to make sure that you are sending earlier in the day, preferably morning. Afternoon is okay, but I honestly would not recommend sending any messaging out after 4 p.m. because that's when you start to run the risk of that funnel misaligning with your telemarketing hours. So if you are following along with me right now and you're looking at your telemarketing hours and you're like, oh crud, I do have this thing where it says allow all day. That's not good. What do I do? First thing you want to check is your time zone. So I'm going to look for Eastern time, because Eastern time, right? Just to make it a little different. And then you're going to do day by day allowed hours. Start time, let's say that we're going to do 8 a.m. You can do it right on the dot because our messaging will not go out before this time. It's going to be triggered to go out at the time of legalities. This is fine. It's just you have to watch the end time. So end time, I'm going to say, yeah, I'm okay with it being sent out until 8 p.m. That's fine. And I might do that Monday through Friday. It's going to adjust depending on, like I said, what your workspace is set to. So I'm going to do this Monday through Friday at these times because that's when my call center is working, right? So I'll set every single one of them 8 a.m. to, actually, I just realized this is supposed to be 20 p.m. here. 20, not 12. So those 2s and those 0s, and I threw myself off. There we go. 8 to 20. But maybe on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I'm like, well, we're closed on Sunday, so I don't even want my messages to go out on Sunday. And let's say on Monday, or on Saturday, it's like, well, we have partial hours on Saturday, so I'm going to only have it going from 9 a.m. until maybe like 6 p.m., something like that. Maybe even earlier than that. Let's do 14 o'clock here. So you may have reduced hours just based on when your call center is available. You can make it so that some days you're not getting any messaging sending out at all. This is all dependent on how you want it set up for your individual company. And again, it is going to be reliant 100% on your time zone. So if you have multiple time zones under different SMS bots, because again, if you see this up here on your second menu area where you're doing settings for one of your SMS bots, that means that these settings are only applied to this one bot. So if you have multiple territories, you're going to have to set this up on every single territory to make sure that you're staying within compliance. And we are going to be sending out a reminder on our team's behalf to make sure that this is something that is signed and approved on a approval document form before we launch your campaign, just so that way we are 100% sure that neither you or our team are liable for sending out messaging at the wrong times. And so that's the introduction essentially to telemarketing hours. It's very important that you get it done and make sure that you're in the right time zone. And by just being in the second menu area, going to settings, SMS, and checking here on every single one of your bots, you can stay one step ahead to make sure that your hours are set up correctly. And that'll be it for today. So I'll see you next time on Channel Automation Training.